to do the countdown? Tonight, it's Live with Vince Eliot. Live with Vince Eliot. Tonight on Live with Vince Eliot. Celebrating 22 years of marriage, it's Vincent and Carla Yarbrough. How am I getting interviewed on my show? And keeping the show on track, co-host Erica Mack. Erica Mack. Who's the Mac? Let's get it. What's happening? What's happening, everybody? Welcome to another Live with Vince Eliot. I am Vince Eliot, and she is
Erica Mack.
Well, I'm extremely excited. I know I say that every week. I'm excited, but I am excited, especially today. I better be excited. I am celebrating 22 years of marriage, and I'm not celebrating it by myself. I'm celebrating with my lovely wife of 22 years, and guess what? She's going to be on the show tonight. So that's going to be real interesting. We're going to be talking about the keys to a lasting marriage. So I'm looking forward to this conversation, having my wife on and making y'all jealous, making y'all guys jealous because I got me a babe. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, so we got a lot to talk about. This is going to be kind of fun, though. It's not going to be like, this deep counseling session or anything like that. We're going to have some fun with it. I'm not telling y'all all my business. I'm just going to tell y'all that right now. My wife ain't having that even if I wanted to. So, but yeah, we're going to have some fun telling you guys the keys as we see them. We know everybody's got different belief systems, but we'll share some things that we think are going to be helpful to you. Erica, talk to me. What is going on?
Well, not too much, apparently. But we want to remind everyone to make sure you subscribe to The Vince Eliot on YouTube.
That's right.
That is The Vince Eliot on YouTube. We'll also ask you to subscribe. Make sure you smash that subscribe button and for your notifications as well. So, oh yeah, don't forget to ask your questions and make sure that you're commenting because we love questions and comments. They actually absolutely help the show and we all learn from each other. So make sure that you ask your questions and that you're commenting. But other than that, what you had going on this week?
Well, first I want to acknowledge the people that wished me and my wife a happy anniversary. We got comments that came in, even before the show started, happy anniversary.
Quite a few.
We got, I'm just going to run through them real quick. They basically all saying the same thing, wishing us a happy anniversary. And so thank you guys, for wishing us a happy anniversary. Team 22, I like that. And then Stephanie Hayes from Florida. She's, and Tiffany from Florida as well. They are regulars to the show. I appreciate that. Yeah. So I want to go ahead and let's just go ahead and do away with this music because I want to acknowledge the elephant in the room, as they say. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want you to know that Erica, she did something that I cannot disclose, and so you see that she's doing this live from her cell. She
didn't do it. Nature did it.
No, she is not in jail, even though she looks like she's about to take a prison picture. If she just turns to the side, She is. Go ahead and tell them what happened, Erica. What's going on with your week?
So really laid back week. Had a good week. Can't complain about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but as I was preparing 5 minutes before we actually come live, before we greet our audience, big boom, power goes out.
Wow.
No power nowhere. I'm like, yes, sir, I don't think I'll be on today because we have no power. There was no power. It's like, oh, you gotta be on. You gotta interview us today.
Right.
I'm like, oh, no interview here. But there was always a ram in the bush, I guess, somewhere. And I forgot I had purchased this little light stand that is USB powered. My husband's laptop had some power in it because mine is dead. I didn't charge my phone last night, so it was dead. I did find a little battery pack to be able to add some power to my phone, so that was
Got to
helpful.
do
So
something.
yeah, so we put it together. I'm here, happy to be here, happy to talk to you all, and let's get started.
So what she didn't tell you is that
Today.
there's a little person, somebody's in the corner holding a flashlight, shining on their face. No, she's got tell you got the whole hookup. You got the
Exactly.
little ring light plugged into the laptop, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's interesting that we found a way to get the technology rolling and keep everything hooked up. So yeah, man,
That's
because
how we have to roll today.
yeah,
Sometimes, you can't be defeated.
well,
That's a little lesson in not being defeated, overcoming.
so I tell you what, I'm yesterday was August 27th, and Tyler Perry's been mentioning this new thing he's coming out with on BET Plus, and it was the Medea farewell play tour, and
Oh, the
so they,
tour. Okay.
yeah, so they went around, but they edited it and then they put it out on BET Plus, and so I checked it out yesterday. I checked it out and watched the whole thing and all that,
You
and
watched
then
it on BET Plus?
I watched it on BET Plus.
Okay.
Yep. And being in production, I often will watch the credits, just showing love and respect and just kind of knowing who's who. I kind of watch the credits a little bit, see who did what, see if I see some familiar names. But for some reason yesterday, I took a special interest in watching the credits. And lo and behold, to my surprise,
Your surprise. Oh my. You like,
my name was in the
yeah.
credits. Go figure. Yeah, my man Daniel White, who's in here. Yeah, hey, yeah, he was in there. So I mean, as you know, most of
Yeah.
you that know me well, that I did work with the crew on the Tyler Perry tour, and so did my man Daniel White, amongst others. Shout out to Jay Garrick Stewart for making that possible for us. He was the forerunner on that. It was his company that was hired to do that, and then he chose who he would have on the crew. And so
Awesome.
Daniel, who's in the chat, and myself, we were part of that, and it was a great experience. Every experience when it goes live, it always has its challenges. So it was not without its challenges, but we won't go into that. But
I think that's
but
the
yeah,
life of production, right?
yeah,
You
that's that's just production, period,
you
man.
rehearse, practice, and
Yeah,
then live, you were like, we did not have this problem in
exactly.
rehearsal
It was
or
working
practice.
fine, and then soon as and then all
Yeah.
of a sudden, Daniel know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
but I'm gonna tell you, man, we had some fun. We had some fun. Yeah.
Yes.
So we can't, like you said, we can't give them all the details. He said, no, that's shop talk. Yeah, we can't tell them everything that went on. But yeah, that was cool. To see my name in the credits, because we we could actually use that to add credibility to what we do, when you get on
Right.
a notable production like that. But aside from that, again, man, that week went so quick. Oh my goodness.
It was kind of fast.
I looked up, oh, you know what? So yesterday, I mentioned to you guys last week that that a friend had transitioned unexpectedly, and so we had the service yesterday for him, Timothy McKay Sr., and you know, for the most part, it was a great it was a great memorial service. Spirits were lifted as we celebrated his life. But I'm gonna tell you what was interesting is it was my first time going to a service like that where the during the pandemic. And so I don't know how many of you out there who are watching, have experienced going to a funeral or memorial service during the pandemic, but it's totally different. I mean, they're real serious about limiting how many people can come in. So in this situation, they said only 100 people can come in, and people who came late, who might have been part of the service, I mean, key family members, they were not letting them in. And it was like, wow. So I think they ended up working out something for like some key people who just like, you just got to get it and let them in some kind of way. But they were real strict about not letting people in. Some people who were actually part of the service did not get an opportunity to be in there. So what that led me to thinking about as a producer is, that's a service that we need to be offering. It was great that a friend of mine, shout out to Pete Holden, who had the foresight, or whoever told him, or I don't know if it was his idea, whatever, to stream it. Probably was Pete, because he's always on Facebook. And so he streamed it through his phone. And so people who were outside got a chance to just watch on their phone and see what was going on.
Oh,
So
I didn't. I was outside, but yeah, the bees were chasing me. I was like, we can't get in.
Those bees were crazy, wasn't they? Oh my goodness.
I was like, I got there just for the service. I was on time for the service. And literally, it was like, and it was nobody out saying anything. So I had asked one of our mutual friends. I said, so what's going on? And they explained it to me. I'm like, it'd be nice for them to have somebody out here saying that.
Yeah.
So because I too lost a loved one back in June, but we didn't have that issue, and they let us do exactly what we wanted to do. So I didn't have that issue. Only thing that we requested was that everyone wear their mask and stuff like that. But other than that, that was not an issue, like literally. So for me to experience, I was like, okay, so they're doing this, and the church was much smaller than the church we were at yesterday. So,
and that's the thing, the church was huge.
Really surprised. I know.
They could have had more people.
Yeah, I was really surprised by that.
So yeah.
That,
so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna offer that service through my production company, where we can come in and we can do a multi-camera shoot where it's almost like you're there.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that. But aside from that, Erica, you know what time it is.
I do. Are you ready?
It's time for In Other News. Deidre, kick it.
And now for news you may or may not be able to use. News other than Trump, COVID, or civil unrest. It's In Other News. Live from one of our remote studios, it's news anchor Erica Mack.
Let's switch these pictures up, but it's a great day in the neighborhood. So, in other news, vintage Super Mario Brothers game sells for $114,000. $114,000.
I'm sorry. Maybe I was having some technical difficulties. Could you? I'm sorry. Say that again, please. What?
So absolutely. So the vintage Super Mario Brothers game.
Okay, take me slow. The video game that you plug into the TV and old school game
after Atari, Nintendo.
Right.
Vintage Super Mario Brothers game.
Okay.
In its original form, original pack, sold for $114,000. That was definitely something that was uncommon, unheard of. The most that the one like that sold for was $100, but for whatever reason, it sold for $114,000 through an auction. Yeah.
See, here's my issue. Now, first of all, you do what you want to with your money. I mean, if you value something like that and you figure it's worth over $100,000 and you can afford to do that, hey, who am I to say what you should do with your money? Here's my problem. I'm out here sweating and grinding and editing videos and trying to get clients and doing all this type of thing to make thousands. And this person is just like, oh, I got a video game. You want that? Yeah, give me six figures. It just seems like I keep missing it by one step. Like I got a vintage game. I mean, I take 50 grand. Just put me in the game, coach. I'm trying to figure out how can I be down.
So the other game, game that sold was the Punch Out, Mike Tyson Punch Out. That sold for $54,000.
Oh man, I wish I would have known about this. Where was this held?
It was held in Dallas. It was held in Dallas at an auction.
Okay, my wife's in the background listening. Baby, we moving to Dallas. Just want to go ahead and put that out there.
Back in July.
We are moving to Dallas, and I'm taking all my video games with me.
Right, You know how you love your video games,
Yeah.
your Atari games. So yeah,
Oh,
so that was, I'm like,
listen, before I move to Dallas, I'm going to Salvation Army and clean up because you can find this stuff at the Salvation Army for $5-10.
yeah, and they
Oh
have a lot of
man.
auctions. I have, I still play mines, but I wish it wasn't open at this point.
Listen, for $114,000, I can get over the sentimental value. I will let that go so quick. Oh, this is my favorite. Oh, here you go.
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Oh,
So, what else we have? Couple donates their wedding food to the homeless shelter and spends their wedding day serving the homeless. So that I
wow.
really appreciated that. That was that. Now that's love
Yeah, yeah.
in a different form. Yes,
Especially in the midst of what's going on in this country right now.
yes.
They gave away their wedding food. So what? Wait a minute. Okay, let me help me understand. Did the people at the wedding still have something to eat, or did they?
No, so
Was it the
that's what they
leftover
did
food?
because of the pandemic and things like that, having a crowd and stuff like that. They had already planned out their wedding. Everything was already set. So instead of having the actual reception, they decided to do away with the reception and things like that because
Mm,
it was just too much to go and backtrack on that. So they said they did not. The food is like they already paid for it. So what do they do with it? So then
wow.
they called the nearest shelter. They called a shelter that they knew of and requested if they can donate already cooked food. And
Hmm.
so they donated their reception food to on this particular day, and they served their reception food.
Oh
So they
wow.
were
See, that's
in
an extra
there,
step.
in
Yeah,
yes, they were
yeah.
in their wedding attire, and they went and they served the guests of honor. That was their guest of
Wow.
honor that day. So I was like,
Now,
oh,
that
that's
was
so
a very
touching.
selfless
Yes,
act because,
yes,
on the wedding day, it's all about the bride and the groom. Well, it's really
yes.
about the bride. Let's just tell the truth. It's really about the bride. But,
Both.
but usually they're receiving all the gifts. I'm sure they still got the gifts, but it's usually just it's their day and it's about them. And they decide to turn it around and serve others.
They
Wow.
give back in the midst
Yeah.
of their day.
And what state was that in?
Atlanta.
Atlanta. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. So that was pretty
Yeah.
cool. I was like, I love stories like that. That everybody's not crazy in the world.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Well, quick before we move on to the next thing, Aletha says that Erica will spend thousands on Adidas talking about that first story. Yo girl, Aletha, right out. She, what's up to Aletha?
Hello,
Yeah,
Alita.
yeah.
Exactly. But it's
So
okay.
yeah, go ahead.
Actually, speaking of Adidas, I got something grand on order.
You got some Adidas on order.
It's something by them that I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna get that, but we'll get there. But back to in other news, our last thing today,
Okay.
Taylor Swift has donated $30,000 to help a Black student in London attend higher education in mathematics.
Oh,
Yes, which
nice.
this young lady had reached out to um, different companies and organizations asking them to support her. She's originally from Portugal. She moved to the United Kingdom. And because she's not from United Kingdom, they would not grant her any grant scholarships or anything like that. So
Wow.
she reached out to companies, organizations. No one would help her. So she did a GoFundMe page. That wasn't hitting like it needed to.
Hmm.
Taylor Swift ran across it and gave her the balance,
Wow.
donated the balance so she could
Yeah.
continue her education.
And you know what? Hats off, first of all, to Taylor Swift for doing that. I mean, you know, I think sometimes we can miss the fact that oh, she got so much. That no, listen, that's still $30,000.
Yeah.
And so she didn't have to do that. And so yeah, I applaud
To,
applaud Taylor Swift
right.
for doing that. And I think that a lot of celebrities, including Taylor Swift, they do
Give back in
selfless
ways
acts and
like
give
that.
back,
Yeah.
and you don't always hear about it. So
Yeah.
when we do hear about it, just want to acknowledge, that we appreciate, that they're not just taking, they're giving, but they're giving. I mean, they're giving up their talent and their time anyway. So
Always. But
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So I was
So
like, that was, it's just things like that. I always love, people who give back because I'm such a giver. So anytime I see a story like that, I'm gonna talk about that.
Well,
yeah.
listen, when you said she did the GoFundMe and it didn't go that well, I can relate because, we still got the GoFundMe campaign, but it's lying dormant. So Taylor, if you're listening, all we was trying to do is get to $2,500.
Right.
We got just shy of 600. So if there's any Taylor Swifts in the watching audience, we still have our GoFundMe page going on. You just go to GoFundMe and search for The Vince Eliot. Our goal is to get to 2,500 so we can pour into this show and do more great things. And we're growing, but that's a whole nother story. In the meantime, listen, if you're just joining us, this is our special episode, Keys to a Lasting Marriage. I am embarking upon, meaning tomorrow will be the date of my 22nd anniversary. My lovely wife is going to be on. I can hardly wait. Matter of fact, we're going to just go ahead and get on with the rest of the show so I can bring her on. And we're going to talk about keys to a lasting marriage. We're going to tell you a little bit about our experience. We ain't going to tell you all our business. And then also, if you're watching, you're looking at Erica saying she looks a little different this week. She is not in prison. She is not, under the light being questioned. Her power went out and she made it happen anyway. So, we're going to get into it. What's up to Alvet, wishing us a happy anniversary, and everybody else who did. If you're just joining, thank you so much. I did shout out to everybody who said happy anniversary. My cousin Kimberly, on and on and on. People are just giving us shouts out. And also, I gave a plug to BT Plus and to Tyler Perry, who released the Medea's Farewell play. And your boy is in the credits. Yes, I am in the credits as a video tech. So shout out to everybody who's a part of that. And in the meantime, we are about to get into this topic, talking about marriage. And we're going to bring on my wife who's the guest. And then I'm going to turn into a guest. But we're going to do all of that right after this. Hey everybody, it's Vince Eliot saying thank you for your support. Real quick, I just want to come on and say a few things real quick. First of all, you guys are amazing because some of you are supporting the show by viewing us every single week. You're financially supporting, you're telling your family and friends, people are going to the YouTube page, subscribing, hitting the notifications bell. We are growing by leaps and bounds. We got a team now. We got Erica Mack, who keeps the show on track, my co-host. We got a producer, super duper producer, Deidre. She's in the background holding it down. And we are now at a place where we are opening the window of opportunity for sponsorship. That's right. If you know of someone who has a business, or if you yourself have a business whose product or service align with our brand, we want to hear from you. Send us an email at thevinceeliot@gmail.com and we will send you the information. We have packages as low as $100 a week. Can't beat that. Those prices are going to go up as our audience grows, so you want to get in where you fit in. Also, if you want to support the show, simply go to the Cash App now there on the screen, $ live with Vince Eliot. 1 L, 1 T in Eliot, so your money gets routed to the right place and gets used appropriately. In the meantime, we will continue to bring you information, education, inspiration, motivation, and yes, a few laughs. Look out for Lil V. He's always trying to get on the show. So in the meantime, let's get back to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. I am Vince Eliot and she is Erica Mack. And just so proud of her for finding a way to still do the show today, even though her power is out. So if she looks like she's different, that's the reason why. Now, on to what I've been waiting for. I have the distinct honor and privilege of introducing one of two guests. Of course, I am one of them, but it's no need to introduce myself. I'm already here. But I am going to introduce my lovely wife. Her name is Carla P. Yarbrough, and I want to tell you just a little bit about her real quick. I could go on and on and on because she is, I married her, right? I committed the rest of my life to her. But I will tell you that I married up. Yeah, she is an educated woman. She has her bachelor's degree in psychology, and she also, you know what? I had to think about that too, because she's got a bachelor in psychology. I think that's what she'd be trying to run stuff on. Anyway, I digress. She also has her master's degree in human and social services. So she is doing a whole lot with that. She is going to tell you more about what she does. She is a strategic planner whose focus is to help people to find their purpose. So we'll talk more about all of that, but we're going to be talking about the keys to a lasting marriage. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to Live with Vince Eliot, Carla P. Yarbrough.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
Hey, Carla, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Great. Welcome to the Vince Eliot Show.
Thank you.
What
You know,
what are you doing?
what am I doing?
Yeah.
What
I
you
was, I was like, what is he about to do?
I got changed up the look.
Yeah.
No.
What really made me laugh was the music. I was
Oh.
like, I didn't get that.
Oh, the music?
Pre-show, yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
you got the music today.
Yeah, well, I had to bring something soft and sweet. I didn't want to hit her. I didn't want to hit her with the, with the,
Right. No.
that just don't fit. So we went with the soft music. But welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And I have to, excuse me, I have to take sort of like a back seat because I'm being interviewed in this process as well. So I'm going to kind of turn things over to Erica in terms of, kind of asking us the questions and things like that. But I do want to set the tone, before I turn it over to her. And you can jump in at any time and, do what you do. But just want to give a disclaimer, a multifaceted disclaimer real quick. Number one, we're going to be sharing keys to a lasting marriage based on our belief system. We understand that even if you share the same belief system, there's going to be differences in how you run your home versus how we run our home. So we're good on that. We're not here to try to say our way is the only way, it's the best way. What's best is what works best for you. But we do think that there are some foundational things that are consistent across the board for most people. Should you put these foundational things into practice, we think you have a higher likelihood or a higher chance of being successful in your marriage. And then the second thing is part of that disclaimer is everything we talk about may or may not ring true in our marriage. In other words, if I give you some example about something that, goes catastrophically wrong, doesn't mean that we had that experience. So I just want to throw that out there that we were going to be talking a lot of stuff in general. We will share some of our stuff, but I gotta, we live in the same house and I want to be able to still stay in here and not sleep on the couch, as they say. So anyway, with that all being said, Erica, kick us off. What you want to know? I mean, we the experts.
Well,
what you want to know? We got 22 years in tomorrow.
Yes, absolutely. 22 years is a long time considering people get married for 72 hours, 6 months, 3 months, things like that. So 22 years, you have broken more ice than most people have in just a short period of time. But what are the myths about marriage?
Myths. I'm a defer to the missus. I've been doing a lot of talking, so I'm gonna let her kick it off. Myths about marriage or myths about?
Well, we could say myths. One, first about dating that leads to marriage. Let's start there.
Okay, from a dating perspective, what people think before they get married.
Right.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Absolutely.
This gonna sound way harsh. No shade. But and they lived happily ever after.
That is so true.
Because what that insinuates is that you're just happy all the time.
Yeah, it insinuates you are happy all the time. And that is such a myth. That is such a myth. And so many people fall into that myth and then they wonder why what happened to they happily ever after. They don't understand that that's work.
Yes.
Happily ever after is work, and you are not happy all the time. Sometimes you be like, okay, Lord, was you for real when you gave this one to me? I thought you
you talking about other people, right? Other people. Okay, all right.
Speaking about myself, I know I can work a nerve like nobody's business. So I know sometimes we got to be like, okay, I'm gonna go back in the room and pray before I come back and deal with her. But I mean, that happily ever after thing is it's a real myth because you're not gonna always be happy all the time, especially if you expected that person that you married to make you happy, because that's not their job. That's not their job. It's really not their job for somebody else to make you happy. That's between you and God. Now, so that person making you happy is a real myth. You have to be happy in and of yourself in order for you to have a happy marriage. You have to be a happy person anyway.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and you can share. I mean, that person definitely adds to your life. You definitely have good, great times and happiness, share happiness with that person. But to her point, a lot of people go into a relationship like this individual is going to make me happy,
Yeah.
and that's the wrong approach.
Yeah.
That's the wrong approach. So, now
Absolutely.
staying with the myth, I want to address something that I think is really important from a male perspective. And it's like, man, please, if you got a young man in the room, teenager or somebody who's single or male, snatch them, tell them to come listen to this. Matter of fact, like Erica said, share, share, share. Get your people on here because they need to hear this. Listen, guys, this is one of our biggest ones. That dating process, particularly, I'm going to say, particularly if you are promiscuous, meaning that you're having sex, which we don't advocate before marriage. That whole scene of dating, just throw that out your mind when you when you get married. And what I mean by that is, it's not that everything that happens before in the dating process, none of that's going to transfer over because some of it will. But what I'm saying to you in a short way, and we'll probably get more into it as we talk about it, is when you're dating, usually you're getting that person's best, right? Every time you see, I'm talking from the male perspective. Every time you see her, she looking good. She got her hair done. She got on a nice outfit. She's doing the Coming to America, whatever you like. Yeah, whatever you like.
I don't know if she doing all that, but
Listen, this one right here, this one, she did. Listen, when it came to, I'll put it like this: when it came to it's time to get something to eat or go somewhere, whatever you like. She almost said those exact words. Whatever you want to do.
Okay, you got to add some perspective to that. Okay, because when we met, I was a vegetarian.
Mhm.
So for me, if we're going out to eat, me telling him where we go, if he wasn't gonna want to eat where I wanted to go eat.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
most of the time we was going, I'm like, okay, wherever you want to go, I can make it work.
Yeah.
So just as
Yeah.
a perspective, I wasn't just like the yes,
But it
no.
also included, it was also true for going out, too. But I mean, I digress. But my point is that it's not going to always be, she's not going to always be as willing to, it's seemingly she's just willing to try to just please you and make you happy. More so than she is when she comes, you guys come into your own in the marriage. And then the other thing is, you only get a portion of that person when you're dating. When you get married, you got all of that person. And that means, and that doesn't mean, I'm not speaking in so much of a negative perspective, like, but what I'm saying is that person, she gets sick. I'm saying, again, from the male perspective, she gets sick. She has womanly things she goes through that you don't get to see or you shouldn't be seeing when you're dating. And she just like any other normal person, they go through moods and emotions and all that other kind of stuff. And right now she's in between hairdos and all that. I mean, you get the whole package, and sometimes the whole package, you don't want to see the whole package. So you need to really, I would say you would do well to go through either some type of counseling or some type of male group or marriage group or something to get a realistic picture, not only of what you can expect from her, but what you need to be prepared to do and bring to the marriage and have an understanding. So go ahead, Erica. I know I can ramble. So
No. Those are very great points of views, because I know, like, when I got married, like you said, from the male perspective, my husband's like, you don't do nothing that you did. And I'm just like, I'm the same person. I don't know what you talking about. I am the same person. But like you said, you talk about the hair and stuff like that. When I'm at home, I want to be relaxed. When I go out, then I'll just up. Like, I lived at home, all of that before we got married. So absolutely, it was totally different than when we got married. So marriage is a great awakening.
I like that. The Great Awakening. Put that in the comments. Somebody put that in the comments. The Great Awakening. Marriage is the Great Awakening. Somebody put that in the comments. I love that.
So those are the things that people definitely need to and I tell people all the time now when they talk about marriage is, expectation. You guys, that expectation that you had dating,
Mhm.
that expectation is not the same in marriage.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you ain't talked about it, don't think it's just gonna happen.
Right.
But
Wait. Anitra says, she said, why you say all like that? Because you do. You get it all. I mean, listen, this show is rated PG. I cannot
Yes.
say all the stuff. And that's both ways. That ain't just her. That's both
Yeah.
ways. It's funny. I was telling her, I said, we should do a skit, and you got to understand, me and my wife are so different in so many ways. I'm the social butterfly, jovial person, and she's more reserved. And even though she engages in humor and all of that, she just publicly, she's not like me. And so doing a skit, that's really not her thing. But I was like, we should do a skit about what doesn't happen when you're dating. Like I meet you and I go, hey, girl, my name's Vince, and, by the way, just want to let you know that I snore, so if you want to get with me, these are some of my bad habits, I don't like, we don't do that, I did have some toe jam last week, if you want to know, we don't do that. So you find out all that stuff after you get committed. So, I thought, yeah.
Again, the Great Awakening.
The Great Awakening. Oh my goodness. There's a whole lot of myths, but we just don't have time, to go into all those myths.
So let's just get into your story. How did you all meet?
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. I'm gonna let you start it off. Yeah, go ahead.
So I have an older sister, and she wanted to be an auntie. She was not concerned. She was not concerned about my happily ever after. She wanted to be an auntie, and so she was tired of me being single. And I had never met him. She had been going to a different church, and I would go to church with her every fifth Sunday, but I had never met him before. And so we were set up by my sister and her friend. They actually had a fish fry that they had, a backyard fish fry that they had at Gina Harris. Thank you, Gina. At Gina's house.
Call her out. Gina Harris Lewis. She got married. Yeah.
They actually planned a fish fry specifically for Vincent and I to meet. And the funny thing is that I'd gone to church with my sister, and I don't remember. He was there, but we had not met before. And so I was going to go home and change. So we're going to have a fish fry at Gina's house. I said, okay. I said, I'm going to go home and change. So she said, put on a dress. I was like, for what? I'm going to a fish fry. She's like, put on a sundress. I was like, I am not putting on a sundress. Going to put on a sundress. What else? So I was like, okay, why are you tripping about my wardrobe? You ain't never tripped before, but okay. So I go home, I change my clothes. I get to Gina's house. I walk in the house, and Roger, the friend of ours, Roger, she had just had foot surgery. She was sitting on Gina's couch. I walk in the house, and she says, "Is this the one for Vince?" I was like, "Excuse me?" I was like, "Is this the one for Vince?" I was like, "What? What are we talking about? Paul was like, my sister was like,
oh my goodness.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so from my perspective, I got there after she was already there. Me and my buddy at this point now over 40 years, I think, that we've been friends. So he and I came, I don't know if we came together, we got there about the same time, whatever, but he and I came and we both were single. And so basically it was just like, if you put the cheese in the mouse trap, the mouse gonna do what he do, so I came over there.
No, because your boy made me come outside, got me out of the house, got a chair, would not let me go back into the house until I answered all of his questions.
Oh yeah. No. What I was saying is that
entrapment.
They didn't have like they told her to put on a dress and do all this other stuff. They didn't have to do anything but invite me because they already knew that I was going to spot her out and probably do what guys do. Like, hey, who was that? So she came with the sundress and but it was funny because my boy, like I said, he was single at the time as well. And so, he went into mode like he always does. Okay, I got to ask you at least 20 questions, and so we did that and I was there. And then it was funny because her sister and the friend that we're talking about, they was like weaning him off, like, get out the way, you in the way. And so the rest of the story is just shorten it up is we talked about, well, hey, let's do something, after we ate, like, hey, let's go to the show. Or, they was like, It's like, and I was like, oh, I know what we could do because I still love going to the arcade. And I said, let's go to the arcade. And she was into that. So she was like, yeah, let's go to the arcade. And then magically everybody else was like, you know what? Why don't y'all just go? Y'all. And so we saw the writing on the wall. And I was like, cool, let's go. And so me and her went, and the rest was history.
You know, I just thought about, we went to the show after that fish fry, right? But it was a fish fry. All of us went to the show to get, you know what that show had to smell like with all of us leaving a fish fry?
Oh, that's right. We went to the show first, and then that's when we branched off and went to the arcade.
5 of us, no, it's like 6 of us leaving a fish fry. Oh, that had to be bad. Why feel bad for those people? I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness.
That's horrible.
Data shows that 88% of the general public says that love is a very important reason to get married. With that being said, Vincent, why did you choose Carla?
That's interesting. So let me back up here, and I'll move real quick. First thing is that I was at a place where I knew I was ready to be married. That's the first thing. I think when you get into a relationship that you think has potential for marriage, you need to be really self-aware. Are you at a place mentally, spiritually, even physically, that you're ready to, from a man's perspective, you're ready to take on a spouse? So I was there. We won't talk about my past, we won't go into that. But I was at a place where I was ready to be married. So that was the first thing. And then secondly, what we did is we did a lot of talking. And I knew that I was looking for certain things in a wife. And it was more of those foundational things: how she communicates, what's important to her, what's her belief system, what does she do when things don't go well, she gets angry, and all those types of things. What does she think about raising children? So these are the things that I was listening for when we started, dating. Now, I'll say this to be more direct to your question is, personally, when you're in the dating scene and you start getting serious about getting married, I don't think that it's a in love thing at that point. I think you're looking for those foundational things first, and you're getting to know that person. And then over time, before you say I do, hopefully you're in love, but the initial stages is not an in love thing. At least it wasn't for me. It's like you grow to love that person the more you learn about that person, and you respect that person and understand what's important and what they value and all of those types of things. And you develop that friendship. And we actually went through the process the stereotypical way. Well, I shouldn't even say stereotypical, because that can mean different things to different people. But we have the same faith. So we did it as close to the biblical process as possible, meaning no sex before marriage, at least between us, once we met. Again, I'm not going into my past. I don't want to go there. But no, yeah, our process was, let me get to know this person. And then, of course, you got to get to know the family, because getting to know the family lets you know something about the person, and also let you know kind of what you're getting into a little bit too. That's a whole nother story. It's just, I think that's the best way to go, if that answers your question.
No, that's a great response to that. Carla, do you feel the same in his in what he believes that you should look for in a mate, and just from a female perspective, as far as looking for in a mate, and then also the love aspect of it? Because I actually agree with the part where he said, love is, that's more of a mature answer. Let me just say that. when you say that, it wasn't love. So
yeah,
when you were looking at it from that aspect, would you say that you look at it from the same aspect?
I would say it was pretty similar, because for me, when I met Vincent, when we first started, I wouldn't say dating, I would say talking. Yeah. I was like, "You too cute to act right. He not gonna act right." And so that was literally that was really my thought. And I was like, we did a lot of talking, like he said, we did a lot of talking, and I have an amazing father. I have a father he should give lessons, and he was really amazing at how he treated his girls. And so with that being the case, in our conversations, I was listening for a lot of things that were similar to the man that raised me. Not that I'm looking for another daddy figure, but you couldn't be crazy. I needed him to have the same type of mindset that wanting to take care of a family. I knew I wanted to be a mom, and and potentially a stay-at-home mom. So I needed to find out how he looked at a stay-at-home wife. Right. You know, someone was he willing to do that? Because, you know, in our day and age, a lot of times it takes two incomes, and there are a lot of men that are not willing to allow a woman to stay at home and be a stay-at-home mom. So, you know, just really talking about those things and what he believed about money, and what he believed about, you know, God, and how, you know, was God first. You know, so when we look at talking about love first, I think looking at love first is a real immature way to look at it, because you can fall in love with somebody that is horrible. Yeah. You can fall in love with somebody that's going to physically abuse you. Yeah. People fall in love with people that are selfish and will not take care of the family. There's so many people that fall in love with the wrong type of person. So love to me was not the first thing. You will grow to love that person after you know that person is has the same mindset as you. And that you can work together. Yeah. How they handle things, how will they handle you? How have they handled things in the past? You know, so that's a grow in love something. You know, a lot of times we get so starry-eyed, especially a lot of times women. We go from one extreme to the other. A lot of times we start out with this whole happily ever after, and one day my prince will come kind of thing. You know, we're looking at all the romance, and then we go to another. Then when we get our heart broke, we go to all of y'all ain't no good, and I'm looking for you. You just gonna mess up sooner or later. And real talk, that's where I was. I said, to me, I was like, he too cute to act right. He ain't gonna act right.
Let the record reflect that I used to be cute. Let's just get that out the way. I did used to be cute. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I used because literally, when we met, even though my sister, you know, she had vetted him or whatever, you know, in her mind. For me, I was looking like, okay, yeah, he fun, he funny, he cool. We can hang out for a good minute, but that ain't gonna work. Because that had been my experience, you know. So even though we were talking and everything, and we was having a good time, we was talking, I was like, oh, he got a little bit of sense here, all right. He kind of cool. Okay, yeah. All right. You know, just, you know, talking all the time, it just kind of grew in that area, because I didn't trust what I was looking at. Absolutely. I didn't trust, even though I met him through my sister and other and Christian events. And the only time we ever saw each other was at church, or, you know, at some kind of church event. I didn't trust what I was looking at. I was just like, okay, this is going to end badly, because just because you go to church don't mean that you don't love Jesus. Christian don't mean Christ-like.
Well, listen, if you're just joining us live with Vince Eliot, I am Vince Eliot. That is Erica Mack, and this is my lovely wife, Carla P. Yarbrough. We're talking about keys to a lasting marriage today. This is the anniversary special edition, because, yes, I am celebrating 22 years of marriage with my lovely wife on tomorrow, which is August 29th. Yes, we got married in 1998. And so I know you're thinking like, wow, man, you don't even look old enough to have been married. Yes, I know. Anyway, so we're going to take a quick break right here, and then we're going to come back, and Erica's going to be asking us questions about the foundational things or keys to a marriage, and then she's going to be asking us a bunch of other questions, and you know, we'll talk about all those things, and you guys, you know, get in there, comment, and ask your questions and things of that nature, and don't forget to subscribe. We want you to subscribe, and I think that's about it. So in the meantime, I want you to take a listen to this. Hey everybody, it's Vince Eliot saying thank you for your support real quick, I just wanted to come on and say a few things real quick. First of all, you guys are amazing because some of you are supporting the show by viewing us every single week. You're financially supporting. You're telling your family and friends. People are going to the YouTube page, subscribing, hitting the notifications bell. We are growing by leaps and bounds. We got a team now. We got Erica Mack, who keeps the show on track, my co-host. We got a producer, super duper producer, Deidre. She's in the background holding it down. And we are now at a place where we are opening the window of opportunity for sponsorship. That's right. If you know of someone who has a business, or if you yourself have a business whose product or service align with our brand, we want to hear from you. Send us an email at thevinceelliott@gmail.com and we will send you the information. We have packages as low as $100 a week. Can't beat that. Those prices are going to go up as our audience grows, so you want to get in where you fit in. Also, if you want to support the show, simply go to the Cash App now there on the screen, $ live with Vince Elliott. 1 L, 1 T in Elliott, so your money gets routed to the right place and gets used appropriately. In the meantime, we will continue to bring you information, education, inspiration, motivation, and yes, a few laughs. Look out for Lil V. He's always trying to get on the show. So in the meantime, let's get back to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. That was just a short break, just like I said. But listen, I want to remind you guys of a couple things. One is I have a disclaimer. I should have put the disclaimer on the screen. Number one, we understand that people have different belief systems. And so even if you have the same belief system, there are things that we will suggest or whatever that may not work for your household. I mean, hey, you know, God gives us a different grace for different folks. There's just things that I just would not put up with, or my wife would not put up with from me, that you may be fine with. But then there are certain things that are across the board that are general that I think would work for every marriage and would give it a higher chance for success. And then the second part of that disclaimer is everything you hear us discuss today, don't assume that that is something that happened in our marriage, whether good or bad, because we're not going to tell you all our business. We just ain't going to do it. So anyway, I'm going to turn this back over to Miss Erica Mack, and we are going to get back into this discussion because we need to talk more about how I'm the perfect husband and how I just don't do nothing wrong. Erica, take it away. That's right.
The dream.
That's right. I'm the dream, baby. I'm the dream.
Well, again, congratulations on 22 years. We know that 22 years didn't just happen by night. Do not just come by night. And it didn't just come with all love, as we just discussed before we went to break. Mm-hmm. So what are some attributes that you would say that will comprise of a good marriage, or what would be considered a good marriage? Relationship goals.
I'm just going to name a couple things, and then I'm going to let my wife expound on them. I think you could just run off the foundation list and say effective communication. I mean, because there's bad communication, right? So right. Effective communication, selflessness, or whatever the word is, basically not being selfish. And then being open-minded. All of these things fall up under the communication deal right here. But I think respect, love, all of these things, you know, being able to, value the other person and their opinion and all that type of thing. And so, and then you have to understand the individual's needs. And so that's the part where I would say, you know, my wife, being who she is, has done, you know, a lot of research and even spoke to groups of people about these very things that she's going to speak to now, in terms of, you know, when you talk about the foundational things, there are, you know, the needs of the husband and the needs of the wife. You know, they kind of fall in those categories of what men need versus what women need. So I'll just let her chime in, and she can talk about that or whatever else she wants to add to that.
Foundationally, I would say I will talk about the needs of the husband and needs of the wife. But the first thing, if we're looking at ourselves, is to make sure that we do that without rose-colored glasses. A lot of times we don't look at ourselves and we look at ourselves, we know we are a good catch. And so nothing that we do should be scrutinize or bother the other person. And when you get married, they're like, why are you doing it that way? And I don't understand that. It could cause, you're trying to jail two ways of doing things or two mindsets. And it could cause a lot of problems if you're not willing to look at yourself and recognize that you are not perfect and the person that you're married is not perfect. And so, because we can either look at ourselves as perfect or look at that person as perfect for me. And then when they do stuff that's not in the realm of what we thought it was going to be, or something that bothers us, we're acting like they just committed, the unforgivable sin. So really just looking at ourselves first, that you have to make sure that if you're going into marriage, you have to be mature enough to understand that you are not perfect and they are not perfect. Don't hold your spouse to this perfect standard.
Because if
I'm
you perfect,
do,
though.
You're perfect. You're perfect for Curtis. You're perfect for Curtis.
But here's the thing: even if you say you're perfect for your spouse, the fact is that even being perfect for Vincent or Vincent being perfect for me, I'm still gonna get on his nerves, and he's still gonna get on my nerves. Because the thing is, I'm not gonna do everything that he likes.
Yes.
At all the time. Sometimes I get a bad attitude. I just do. It's like I don't want to do that now. I think it's there. I'm real talk. There's sometimes I know I'm wrong, and I'm like, okay, and I'm all right with that.
Wait a minute. This just turned into a counseling session.
That's real talk.
We need to discuss this off air.
No, but there are times we have those moments.
Yeah, you're right. Sometimes you have those moments, and it might not be towards him. It might be something we discussed because I was upset with somebody else or something that I did, and I'm like, yeah, I'm okay with that. It's the thing is, just understand that you didn't marry the perfect person. So when they do something that is imperfect, don't trip.
Yeah.
Don't trip. And you're not perfect. So, and vice versa. So, but if I talk about what, one of the things, the things that, how, foundationally that men and women, if you read, if you go to Ephesians, and also if you read in Corinthians, over and over again, I'll just say this over and over again in the Bible, the Lord tells men to love their husbands, but love their wives. Yeah. It's over and over again. He tells husbands to love their wives. Do you know that there's nowhere in the Bible that he tells a wife to love her husband?
Right.
God created, and if you look at Ephesians, I think I wrote it down. I think it's 5:20, starting at 22. It goes through, it talks about God, how Christ loved the church. He says, love your wives as Christ loved the church. And then it talks about and tells, and it talks about how Christ loves the church and what he did, how he kept it clean, and it feeds it. And it talks about how you love your wife as you love your own body, and every man takes care of his body. And so he gives a description of how you're supposed to love this woman, because that's how God created her.
Right.
God created her for love. And that thing is that the type of love that God describes is all wrapped up in security.
Yeah.
A woman feels loved when she feels secure.
When she's secure.
When she's secure. And it's not necessarily that she needs your money. It's not necessarily that she needs your money, but she does need to know that you are willing to sacrifice your money for her.
Yes.
I ain't saying she a gold digger. I'm sorry.
It's not necessarily that she needs your money, because she could have a great job, but she needs to know that if it came down to it, you would sacrifice it. You would make sure that she was taken care of financially.
Absolutely.
So that if you read that scripture, it talks about what that security looks like and how God created her. Now, then, on the flip side of that, it tells wives over and over again to honor their husband. It tells them to honor their husbands. And the thing is, in real talk, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? A couple of weeks ago, I was talking to a men's group, and they were asking questions about they were asking questions about women in general, so they could understand their wives better and their and with the women in their lives. And so one thing I was explaining to them is that I said, listen, when God created, if you read in Genesis, God says, he says, it's not good for man to be alone. I'm going to create him a help meet, somebody to give him some help. Okay. He created the woman specifically to help him, to help the man. Right? That's why he gave us multitasking. That ability to multitask and get it all done in the household, it comes naturally. If you have a good wife and you say something and her husband tells her that he wants to do something, the first thing her mind does is kicks into gear trying to figure out how we can get this done.
How can you get it done?
Right. How can he get it done? How can he have what he needs? Because that's how God created us.
Yeah.
Now, with that being the case, if he does not step up and start moving, she will run straight over him and it will not look like honor in any way. Look like she just take it over. You just do what I say do. So he has to keep saying, that's why God keeps saying you need to honor him, because a woman will run over him not meaning to, and it doesn't feel like honor. He feeling he disrespected. You sit out, okay, this is what you're gonna do. You want this, this is what you gotta do. You do this, and then you have it. And he's
Yeah.
like, well, what if I want to do it that way? But I know what needs to be done because I've been thinking about this all day. And I've been thinking about you, and I think about the kids, I think about
Yes.
that's how God created us. And so it doesn't look like honor and it doesn't feel like honor. So God has to tell us as women, he created men for honor because he did make him, there's a hierarchy, God, and then man, and the hierarchy of how he set things up. And so with that being the case, he has to remind us, yeah, I know I gave you all of this and you are a beast in the game and you can take it and you can run with it. But listen, honor him because he's not going to feel honored if you tell him, okay, sit down and be quiet because I got this.
Yeah,
You're going to have
right.
what you need. You can sit down and I got this. Because we
But I
really
think some,
feel it.
yeah, I think sometimes when we talk about when you were talking about men and just how God made us to be a help meet. Sometimes men have to understand that that's what we are, a help meet. So our, like you said, our multifaceted minds will definitely go into work, but we're helping. You said you wanted to do this. This is what help looks like. So help may actually, and every woman has to know what help looks like to her spouse as well. So Dylan Lovelace he asked
Dylan.
what Dylan?
Yeah,
Dylan.
by the
Okay.
way, I know you're going to address this question, but just so y'all know, I talked about the Tyler, Dylan came on late. I talked about the Tyler Perry thing and the fact that we were in the credits. Dylan was responsible for the set of the
Okay.
Medea's, Tyler Perry, Medea's farewell play that just came out yesterday. So anyway, that nice set where it rotates and all that, he's responsible for that. He's the carpenter. Anyway, I digress. Go ahead. Dylan's question is.
Yeah, welcome, Dylan. But he asked, what is a good wife? And I think you just explained it, but expound to him because he might have missed some things as far as what is a good wife. I think that varies to the man, but you may have more information on that.
I would say a good wife is for each man is different because God has
Yes.
purposed each person for something different. And what your wife is going to help you with is different from what what I help Vincent with. So I see the interesting thing is I'm purposed to help other people find and walk out their purpose. So, when I look at what a good wife would be, it would be making sure that I'm doing what I need to do to help him with that. Now that I still have to do what God called me to do purpose wise, but each man has something different that he needs from that wife. So I can't tell you what a good wife would be for you, but one that is, except for the general, one that is willing to be that helpmeet, one that is willing to, even though she is that helpmeet, she's honoring. She's willing to honor him, and just really that biblical version of what help looks like. And, a lot of times we go to that Proverbs 31 woman. And when I was speaking to the men a couple of weeks ago, one thing I let them know, I said, listen, we look at that Proverbs 31 woman a lot of times, and we beat women over the head with that Proverbs 31 woman because she was this and she was that, she was this. And we're looking, and a lot of times men are looking for that Proverbs 31 woman. However, what they forget about that Proverbs 31 woman and all that she did, if you look at the beginning of that scripture, it says, and it tells about how she rises early and she gives meat to her household and a portion to her maids. In order for her to be the bad sister that she was and to get it all done, her husband made it possible for her to have maids, not just one. He is plural. It says maids because in order for her to do all the things that she did, we're looking for this Proverbs 31 woman, but she has to have the tools to equip her to be that biblical helpmeet. And if you wanted to be that biblical helpmeet, you be that biblical man.
I think one thing that can get lost as we talk about the woman being the helpmeet is that, guys or women may think that, we're talking about a woman who forgets about her aspirations in life, forgets about, doing her career and all that. I live to help him. And that's not what we're saying. You can have aspirations, dreams, and go after your career and do whatever it is that you want to do, but that does not exclude the relationship that you have and what you bring to the relationship and what your role is in that relationship. Just want to comment on a couple or bring out a few comments. I know Stephanie said earlier when you were talking about the getting on the nerves. Yes, something as small as leaving the top off the toothpaste and the twist tie off the loaf of bread can get on your nerves.
Yes, Jesus. Yes.
And you had mentioned about the money. She said, I'm single and I've had that problem with guys thinking I want their money. What money?
Thank you.
You know,
They talk about money, and it's like a lot of times. That's why I'm glad I'm not in the dating world anymore.
Yeah.
Because I had the guys thinking that they want. I'm like, first of all,
I'm glad you're not in the dating world too. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I always made my own money. I had no problem with that. I like to be able to say my father taught me to be able to say that. My father taught me that you need to be able to say I can pay for Carla.
Mm-hmm.
So if I left the house and the man acted a fool, I'd be like, oh wait, how much did you pay on that dinner? And it was like, okay, there you got that. I was good with that. So, and even to the, I'm glad that Vincent brought that out, that being a helpmeet doesn't mean giving up your dreams and doing and everything goes to no, because God gave every person a purpose, and you are, as a woman, you have a purpose. Just like I say, my purpose is to make sure that other people walk out their purpose. So I have my own business. I did go to school. I have all those things that
I should have waited to put that up. Because you got to address that. You got to address that. I should have. No, that's Dylan. That's Dylan said, oh.
Get her a maid. She need a maid, darling. Yes. Get a maid. Help out. She will appreciate that. But yes, you have your own dreams, because the thing is, you're not going to be a wife and mommy forever. I mean, like right now, I'm going through a changing stage because my children are becoming adults.
Right.
And so I'm no longer stay at home. I haven't been a stay at home mom, like in that respect, for the past. How old is Cody? He's 4.
20. Wow.
Past 6 years now. I was a stay-at-home homeschooling mom for 16 years, but I've been back in the workforce for the past 6 years now, and I have my degrees, and I'm working on my own business. So yes, but am I still a helpmeet to Vincent? Yes, but part of being a helpmeet to Vincent is actually having my own interest, because I would be draining. I would be extremely draining for him if everything was about him, because I would be on his nerves. I'd be like, okay, what you need now? And he'd be like, I got stuff to do. Would you go away? So I would be draining if I did not have my own interests, if I did not have my own career, if I did not have my own life. Being a helpmeet does not mean that my whole life is on him, but I undergird him.
I think that's very important that you lifted that you having your own calling, your own vision, your own aspect of life in a relationship, that it's, yes, you're codependent on each other, but you have your own goals and dreams that you're working towards, so that you don't get on each other's nerves. You have that intimate time, but you also should have that time where you go and do you, and then that you go and be with your friends, and that's important to a healthy relationship. So in saying that, having a healthy relationship, what are you most excited about in your relationship during this season?
Oh, wow. Oh, pick me.
Go ahead.
So yeah, in this portion of our life, it's interesting because we're at that crossroad of our children are, now starting to really get into the adult life, who's going to go off to what school, and, are we going to make one more move, which we do plan to make another move in terms of, our living place. And then my wife, having, really fully committed to her new, well, it's really not so new now, but, she, like we mentioned earlier in the program, strategic planner. And she did that while she worked various jobs, over like she said, she did 16 years of homeschool, and then she went back out to work. And so she was building that business, and it was kind of, how you do when you first start entrepreneur, you do a little on, a little off, things like that. Well, now she's like full throttle. So now we work together to help her, because she's always undergirded and supported my business to get it off the ground. And so now we shift a little of that attention onto her to really allow her to be able to flourish in what she does. So you got the entrepreneurial side that's really now going to take on a different phase for her life. You have the children that are changing. You have, hey, what are we doing in terms of changing our living situation? And then, you're in a different place financially, where you start looking at, how do we shift our investments, or, what do we do, with, where we are now with retirement and all these things. You have to think you're in a different phase of life. So it gets interesting from that perspective, because life changes. I'll say something, I'll share something, make it quick. I did mention to you about the Tyler Perry thing. I don't know why he keeps getting a plug, but he said something in the play that I don't agree with everything he says. But one of the things he said a couple things I agree with, but one of them was, the reason why people go through getting those renewing their vows is because you saying I do to a different person every 7 to 13 years, because the person is changing, they're evolving, they're growing, there's life changes. I mean, now we're dealing with elderly parents. Now we're dealing with adult children. Now, like you said, in her case, she was stay-at-home mom for 16 years, and now she has the freedom that, all of our children are driving now. And so life changes. I change, our bodies change, our desires change. So it can be exciting. It can be challenging too. And so I think that, man, there's so much we could talk about. Oh my goodness, we might have to do it.
We're looking forward to. She didn't ask you which. You don't know what I'm looking forward to.
Well, I just gave my portion. You can get your portion. But I was just saying we might need to do a part 2 on this show, because there's so many areas we could touch on. But go ahead and talk about what you looking forward to.
I would say for me, I'm just looking forward to seeing who we are as without the kids. Not that we're kicking them out. Not that we're kicking them out, but just I'm having been a stay-at-home homeschooling mom for 16 years. And everything being about the kids, been about really the kids and raising the kids so much and what they needed. Now it's like, who are we as a couple without being that strong parental figure? I know they're going to need us for the duration for a long time, well through their 20s, but not in the same way. So just really trying to see who we are as a couple, because we have changed so much. I have, I was pregnant 9 months after we got married. So we've been raising babies the whole time we've been basically together.
Bound chicka bow wow. Keep them coming, baby. Keep them coming. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I'm sorry.
Did we not say we weren't going on?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Anyway. But no, just really.
My soldiers was marching. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just saying out loud.
At think who we are outside of parenting and, getting to know each other in this stage, because we are different people. I'm really a different person than I was, and he is a real different person than he was. And so to see me, especially with me me having my own business, and I'm also a speaker, so being able to go and not have to worry about, got to get home in time enough to make sure the kids get their lessons or whatever. I can take different engagements and how we work together on those kinds of things.
Frank's responding to my bound chicken wow wow.
Yes.
Hey, listen.
Responding to that statement.
You're gonna have a happy marriage. There's got to be some bound chicken wow wow.
I guess that's an ingredient in the recipe, but yeah, I think another important ingredient is
pray.
What way do you all build your friendship?
We still talk a lot.
Mm-hmm.
He and I still talk a whole lot. It's so interesting because with me having been a stay-at-home mom and him having been an entrepreneur for most of our marriage, you would think we'd be sick of each other because we're always in the house together. But
Right.
we talk so much still. It's like, okay, we got to go sleep. We talking too much, or you got to go to you got to go to your office and do some work because we talking too much. We still talk a lot. Our French, we have really have a strong friendship because we actually enjoy talking, not just going out. We have not done a whole lot of traveling and stuff like that because of the kids and being stay-at-home parent, a stay-at-home mom and stuff like that, and homeschooling. It takes a lot away from that a lot of times, but we talk all of the time. I remember even when he took a job, he had taken a job at a plant for a period of time, a couple of years, and he would literally call me while he was working on the line and talk to me almost the whole time he was working. I mean, we talking like 8 hours, you know, and just having communication. Like I was talking I'm talking to my friend,
Right.
you know, and so we talk a lot and just really enjoy. We have a same mindset, so we really enjoy each other's company.
And then so when the pandemic or the quarantine took place, for me, I think I could speak for her as well. It wasn't that big of a shift. For the kids, a little more. I mean, because they were now driving and going to visit friends and hanging out a little bit. But for she and I, excuse me, it was noticeable, but it wasn't that big of a deal because I was working from home. You know, when she was working, she was going to work, whatever. But, you know, when she came back and started working at home, you know, it's like, well, this is par for the course. I mean, we've done this before, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But yeah, that communication, you know, and Tiffany's amening that, is huge. And you know, it's funny, you know, we watch shows like Everybody Loves Raymond. I love that show. And he plays this husband that, you know, he's just a bad husband, you know, in a lot of the episodes, he's just, you know, doesn't get it right. And so they take the stereotypes and they amplify them. And so there is some truth to the stereotypes, but I think, you know, that's why it's so funny because there's so much truth to it. And so I was watching a video skit about a husband and wife. And so they asked the wife to answer a question. They was doing this game show. She's supposed to answer a question. And she got to talking. And it was stereotypical because she was just like on and on and on and on and on. And so, you know, they were making a point that sometimes wives, baby, you give me too many details, you know. Not that my baby does that, you know, but
I think it's probably the other way around for you all.
Whatever. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Let's get the right people off the screen. Let's make sure that we anyway, I think we both share in the too much details category. We both share in that. We did give a disclaimer that we weren't going to tell all our personal business. So let's get back on track.
Now you don't want to tell all the personal business.
Let's get back on track with that.
Your whole wild chicken wild session.
Right.
Yeah, and to that, Naomi said, "Can you stop? The viewers don't want to know about this. Listen, they want to know the real. They want."
That is funny. So, moving on. We've heard all the good things and that marriage has, but marriage also brings concerns. I don't call them problems. We're gonna call them concerns, differences, differences. So, what would you say, or how do families play a role in marriage? If a spouse have a difference with a family member, how does families play that role in your marriage?
Yeah, that's an easy one. You want that one, or you want?
I'll take that one. You know, there's Steve Harvey. He says this all the time when he's talking to marriages. He said you and your spouse need to form a two-handed circle.
Mm-hmm.
A two-handed circle, and other people are not allowed. Now, for me, I would say a three-handed circle. You know, because we have to include the Lord and the Holy Spirit in that thing, but not allowing other people into that space where they can be destructive. Now, I'm talking about in a situation where there's abuse or there's, you know, because people take that too far.
Right.
People take that too. Oh well, that's your friends, and they tell. We ain't doing that. But where it comes to what works for your marriage, what decisions you all make with the money, how you all raise your children, how you all handle how you all handle your marriage, it's different for everybody. So you have to make that two-handed circle, and that means that you're not going to tell your family everything.
Right.
I mean, I got two sisters, and one of my sisters I talk to like about 5 times a day, literally.
6.
Is that
Oh,
the
I'm
one
sorry.
you wanted?
I keep forgetting. My mic is on. My
Yes.
mic is
That's the one
on.
who wanted
You
to
need to be grateful because that's the gay got me. So
And she reminds us of that. She reminds us of that at least once a year. She reminds us of that. Yeah.
but but just really just knowing what to share with your family and what not to share with your family, knowing
Exactly.
when to ask advice. And thing is knowing who to ask advice of, because if you're looking at their lives, some family members you don't need to.
Yeah. Here's the key to that too. Here's what you got to realize. Whether it's your family or whether you are talking to a close friend that is really close to, you and your spouse. What, especially with the family, if you go to your family member and you complain about what your spouse did, and it's like, especially if it's something major, now your family is like, oh, they ain't happy, they upset. And again, we're not talking about abuse and things like that, so now you and your wife then worked it out, your husband and you and your husband or whatever, your spouse then worked it out, and y'all good, but your family member's still mad. You know what I mean? So that's going to be a problem when you come over for the Thanksgiving or for the Christmas or whatever, just drop by. And so they can't understand.
No chicken.
Yeah, they can't understand why you let him or her get away with that, or in their mind get away with it. And they don't understand the whole totality of, listen, we in this marriage to make it work. And so, they don't know all the conversations and the apologies and the understandings that you all came to, because they might not be, and they might not be in agreement with your resolution. So you got to be real careful with that. We got a couple questions in the chat. At what age did you get married?
I was 27.
Yep, and I was 31. And so I'm 3 years and 2.5 months older than she is. So she was a few months away from, September, October, November. Yeah, she was 3 months away from turning 28. And I was, 5 months away from turning 32. Is that right? Yeah, I think that's
She
right.
was Robin.
I wasn't. You got to at least do 15, 20 years, to be 20 years to be robbing the cradle.
Right.
All right, we had another question.
Today.
Let's see. Frank, that's a weak question, man. What is that? Frank, does Carla watch programs that you absolutely hate? No, she don't watch them. She don't like them, so she don't watch them.
I don't watch a whole lot of television.
Yeah, she don't watch. Let's see. Did we have another question? Did I miss another one?
No,
or was that it?
I think they were just laughing.
Oh yeah.
Someone was just saying stay mad for a minute too. Yeah, they do. They absolutely do.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to close this show out. I mean, we embarked.
I have one more question.
Oh boy, here we go. I thought we were gonna get off easy. Let me start playing the music, man. We got to get out of here. We got to go.
No, I think the viewers want to know what techniques do you all use to reduce stress in your marriage?
Bound chicken wow wow. Bound chicken wow wow.
But stress as far as like transition,
The ultimate stress reliever.
Kids, when it comes to moving, when it comes to career change, is there, finance? What techniques do you use?
Wait a minute, before she answers that question,
stress?
I get you. Before she answers that question, I think I may have scarred my children. I think they thought that once we had them, it was over, and they may be watching this show. I think I've just opened up a can of worms. I'm sorry. Go ahead and answer the question.
So you're saying stress as in when we're making transitions, or
yes, the transitions put on marriage, changes put on marriage. Versus transitions. Let's say changes.
Actually, we do come together and we pray a lot.
Yeah.
We do. you know, try to think about what the word's gonna say, what the word says about our situation first, because that's, you know, our lives are governed that way. I know a lot, that our faith governs our life.
Yeah.
And so being able to not have to make those decisions ourselves, but allowing the Lord to make those decisions for us is really a great stress reliever, because I'm not responsible for that. If the Lord says do this, we do that. You know, when we go off and we do something half cocked and we say, well, we missed it. Who I missed it. That's the, you know, then we have to come back and we have to have conversation about it, and we try not to have condemning conversation about it.
Wait a minute, Neil.
Rock, paper, scissors.
I cannot.
Get your life together.
You know what? That's his spiritual answer. Rock, paper, scissors. One for the Jesus God and one for the Holy Spirit. Yeah, but no.
Yeah, just really talking. I would say really talking it through it, especially if it's like one person made the mistake and, you know, did something. Try not to be in that real condemning voice, because sometimes that is difficult, because you gotta pray, but you gotta speak responsibly.
Yeah.
You have to really speak responsibly. A lot of times you have to pray before you go, before you just blah, because sometimes you're mad, you know, like. But so really allowing the Lord to really have his place in there. That's why I say that in that three-handed circle.
Yeah.
My buddy Steve from high school says, talk about getting away from the kids to enjoy each other with or without the bound chicka wow wow.
I'm still trying to get away from my kids. No, just you know what? I can honestly say we need to do better at that.
I was going to say the same thing.
We actually need to do better at that. Us being a home, having been in the house together so much, being homeschooling parents, and him being an entrepreneur, me being an entrepreneur, our family is extremely close knit, more so than you would see a lot of other families, because they do go off and they do their own, you know, do other things. With us having homeschooling, we've always been in the house together, so we spend a lot of time together. So we need to be better at doing stuff without the kids, because you know, we'll go upstairs and watch Hulu or whatever and be like, okay, that's cool. You know, but
you know what's funny is
doing stuff like that is, we got to be better.
Those few times that we did purposefully get away, we went shopping, thinking about getting something for the kids while we was out shopping, or we talking about the kids. It's like, we away, but our mind ain't away, you know. That was when they were a lot younger. Excuse me. But yeah, we definitely need to do better at that. And man, there's just
sometimes our focus, you know, being in a marriage and being because marriage is a job, it's a working business. And so when you talk about, you know, getting better in areas, there's always things that we can work towards and work to be better at, because we all falter in marriage. There, the perfectness.
Yeah.
As much as I like to be perfect, I am so far away from it.
No, not you, Erica.
Oh my God.
You know what? I think this is what we're going to need to do. And we don't have to do it next week necessarily, but I think we need to come back, because I think what we're missing in this particular conversation is giving some specific strategic ways to combat conflict. You know, I mean, we talked about the foundations, right? We talked about communications, but like, what happens when you get in that argument and one of you is offended, or you always feel like, oh, see, it's always me. It's always me. You know, how do you deal with those situations? Because everybody deals with that. And you come up with different belief systems. Your belief system is going to be shaped on your experiences, your environment, your culture, your influences, the people who are in your life. You know, all of your belief system is going to be based on that. So
I think Carla brought it out in one instance that we should use a lot is sometimes you can't respond right then.
Yeah. As Frank lies. Go ahead. Yeah.
Right.
Well, you know what? He been with her now it's been about 2 years now. So she she might
She
think,
might still think he's perfect.
yeah, I don't know. 2 years, you find out pretty quick that he ain't perfect. I found that out in the first month that I met him, so I know she had to find out.
But no,
Got
stepping
him.
away from the conversation and allowing each other to breathe and actually having a conscious thinking about it and making a conscious decision on what's going to be said and things like that. I think that's definitely when we talk about.
Now here's the one point that I want to. I'm sorry, did I cut you off? You were saying,
It's okay. We'll be
but no.
and things like that.
Here's one thing that I would leave you all with. That, you know, and like I said, we could pick up and go in great detail next time. But I would go as far as to say all, and you rarely should say all, but let's just say 99% of the arguments are not about the thing on the surface. If you're upset because I did something, it's not what I did that you're upset about. It's the fact that I was inconsiderate. It's the fact that I disrespected you. It's the fact that I didn't think about you, you know, and what you like or dislike. It's the fact that I wasn't being responsible. It's not the fact that I left something open. It's the fact that I wasn't considerate. So it goes back to those foundational things. And were you thinking about how I need to be loved? Were you thinking about how I need to be respected? Were you thinking about being considerate of me? Were you valuing what I value? And so that's where those arguments come in when people get offended or feel mistreated and all those things.
Were you valuing what I value?
Yeah.
That's a very important statement.
Yeah.
When you definitely talk about conflict.
Yeah. So, and on that note, I'm gonna do this. Because we got so much, and here's the thing that you all ain't thinking about too. I think I got through this conversation and I'm in good standing. So I want to get out while I'm ahead. You know what I'm saying? So I don't say the wrong thing. So Frank says that last point was a good point. But listen, I just want to thank my wife first and foremost for being bold enough to come on and set herself up for the potential of me saying the wrong thing. And I think I did okay. But also just being able to share from our experience, you know, and be able to hopefully help somebody. I want to thank the audience, you know, for chiming in and for you guys having a sense of humor as we talk about this. Steve says, great show, bro. Proud of you. And then I got a chance to show off my lovely wife. I mean, you know, I ain't gonna lie, you know, I'll just be honest with you. I married her for all of those things I talked about, the foundational things, but when I saw her, I was like, okay, she easy on the eyes. Yeah, I can work with that. And then, you know, she takes care of herself and keeps herself up. She didn't just be like, okay, well, I got you now, you know, and just, you know, go off into something else. So anyway, we are going to catch up with you guys next week. Erica, thank you, of course, for doing a great job with the interview questions and, you know, really throwing us a curveball, you know, every now and then. And I'm glad you didn't try to dig deep. That's why I started playing the music, so you wouldn't dig deep. Give you guys the last word. Go ahead and say what you guys want to say before we get out of here. Let's kick it to Carla.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It was fun.
Frank obviously is a very intelligent guy. You know, I'm gonna start giving him credit now.
Right. But no. I was just telling someone, I said, this is like a passionate topic for me, so I can like go on and on about it.
Yeah.
Not without even asking questions, because too many people are failing at it, and it's not the hard stuff that they're failing at, it's the easy stuff. And then they call it quits. They throw away the whole thing from that. So thank you, Carla. Thank you, Vince. Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Y'all can bow chicka wow wow. Go have some dinner.
You know what? Why don't we do this? Why don't we commit to doing another show based on what's going on in the next couple months? Why don't we commit to doing one on Sweetest Day? Or the closest Friday to Sweetest Day. Yeah, the closest Friday to Sweetest Day. Yeah, let's do that. All right, folks, that's our show. Don't forget to subscribe to Live with Vince, Eliot, Carla. We're going to go ahead and let you go backstage. And, well, since we live in the same house, you know, I guess we don't have to have you stick around like we normally do. But you know what? You can stick around and go ahead and, we can do our debrief. So, yeah, stick around backstage for us. And in the meantime, I just want to remind people to go to the YouTube page and subscribe. You can search for The Vince Eliot. Subscribe so you get notification when we go live, or should we? I'm having an issue. Okay. When we upload any content, so you get notified, especially if you hit that notifications bell. And then also, I haven't done a lot of talking about this lately. I've just done little mentions. We do have a GoFundMe page that we really need your support on. So whether, no amount's too big and no amount too small, and again, no amount's too big. But we have a small goal of $2,500. We kind of stalled out just short of $600. So we got a little ways to go, but that's not a whole lot. Somebody like Frank, I'm gonna call you out. You just go ahead and drop $2,000 right quick, and we'll be met our goal. But no, understand that no amount's too small, no amount's too big. Go to the GoFundMe page, search for The Vince Eliot, or simply just use the Cash App information that's on the screen. We will put that money to great use because we want to continue to bring you great content that's going to be informative. Like I like to say, hey, this is a show about information, education, inspiration, motivation, and occasionally we can bring you a few laughs, hopefully, and do it in a way that is helpful to you. So, you got anything else, Erica? Got anything else? Did they see that Cash App real good? We want to make sure they see that Cash App real good, Erica. We're going to put it up big on the screen. Let's just go. He said he got me. Oh, I'm messing around. I'm messing up my producer's on her job, and I'm out of habit. You know what I'm saying? The producer is new. The producer is new to the show, and I'm still trying to get my hands off of stuff. Producer's got it. She's on the case. Deidre's in the background holding it down. And so, Cash App, I'm not even going to be feeling no bad kind of way if you just send $5. But I'm really going to be feeling some kind of way real good when you send that 100 or that 1,000. So anyway, I've said enough about that. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to go. Our show, we normally try to keep it around between an hour and a half. And I think we slightly went over that, but that topic was so rich that we couldn't possibly hit it all. So let's see. We got another comment out here we need to address real quick. Congratulations. Yeah, 22 years. Appreciate it. And Frank says, we got you. All right, appreciate it. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you next Friday. Log on at 7:55 p.m. so you don't miss anything. With that being said, super duper producer Deidre, take us away.